Could Cthulu Swim Right? By Alexander Adams. We have a saying, Cthulhu always swims left. It indicates a predominantly leftward political and social drift in the West. By Cthulhu, what is meant is the state and the quasi-state organizations and the culture that they impose. It is disdained by some on the right as a cliché, one with overtones of resignation. However, it is a handy summation. For the average right-wing, non-authoritarian big government is a behemoth, hence the imagery. If the Whig premise of history being linear, continuous and irreversible is a fallacy, surely constant movement and consistent direction should also be fallacies. What if Cthulhu swam in the other direction? Could Cthulhu swim right? Why the move leftward? It is not driven by popular sentiment. Poll people and you'll find widespread support for the death penalty and closed borders, positions that no mainstream British political party or newspaper has supported for over half a century. Movement is directed from above by ruling elites and their subordinates. The primary drivers enforcing the will of elites are A. the political class, all of it, B. mass media and social media, C. state education, D. law enforcement, E. the civil service, and F. established churches. There is also a flank of progressivism that operates through large companies, NGOs, charities, and the super wealthy, which is outside the scope of this article. However, such nominally private parties are effectively client partners of the state and could be influenced by a government. Enforcement is not only through regulation by primary drivers, it is done through top-down negative social pressure, i.e. shame, and positive social incentives, i.e. status affiliation. On the face of it, shame culture seems to be antiquated, a matter of defeated Romans falling on their swords, or dishonoured samurai committing harakiri. Yet the force of shame persists. Most middle-class British people would rather risk the emergence of grooming gangs or beheadings in public than face the shame of being called racist for demanding immigration restrictions or supporting police stop and search. What of status affiliation? To discover the nature of that, look at what professors are teaching the future elite. Currently, the high status and high status aspirant position is that Western nations are perpetrators of historical crimes. Therefore, people of European heritage should be denigrated, and European traditions should be subverted and dismantled. Anyone seeking to assert membership of or expressing willingness to join the ruling elite must express such views. Regardless of what they actually think, individuals act as if they believe these elite tenets are true. Both shame and status affiliation are the result of a dominant social narrative or national mythos, interweaving deception and truth, controlled and largely believed by the top of society. It is then inculcated through education and reaffirmed by mass media, speaking most essentially to non-ruling elites. So long as the populace does not refuse to pay taxes, withhold labour, or decline to serve in the army or police, what it believes is not pertinent. The leftward direction of society is not inevitable. look at how the population submitted to COVID regulations. Note how compliant the population was when the credo of free movement and personal choice became overnight curtailing movement and restricting choice. The mantra, "my body, my choice," was ditched by progressives. The cruel but realistic depiction of a section of the population as NPCs, non-player characters acting as if following programs and incapable of independent thought, seems to explain why swathes of the population are giving up supposedly deeply held standards when the leaders flip the high status position. What if the high status position was not progressivist technocracy but traditionalist nationalism? What if the high status position was to reject multiculturalism and shame compatriots who do not embrace domestic customs? Let's set aside the well-known phenomenon of elite xenophilia. For this to occur, there would need to be a formation of a traditionalist elite, a group of committed, ambitious individuals who set aside personal rivalry, ready to act when weakness, crisis, or popular civil disturbance threatens to unseat the incumbent elite. If there were to be such a change of leadership, the population, including many of the newly deposed non-governing elites, would follow. They would be motivated by the need to secure income and social status. They would be driven by the subconscious urge to socially conform. Consider those German civil servants who, in the space of 14 years, showed undeviating loyalty to, in turn, the Weimar Republic, National Socialism, the occupying Allied forces, and the communist German Democratic Republic, without their ethics or sense of the patriotic being impugned. How to make Cthulu swim right is straightforward, although getting to that point would not be easy. It would require the formation of an elite with traditional principles, which consist of beliefs, not attachment to any institutions such as the monarchy, the church, parliament, and so forth. It would require that elite to take power and enforce principles, not only by establishing laws and appointing personnel, but being prepared to abolish institutions that have become progressivist. It would require bold leadership and restated, easy-to-follow principles. Shame and status affiliation would cause people to make choices that conformed to a new traditionalist elite outlook. Cthulu swims left partly because millions of people daily err on the side of progressivism to do their bit for social justice. For Cthulu to swim right, the new elite must change the definition of social justice. Left alone, once social stigma is removed from social conservatism, most people lean rightwards. Should narrative formation come into the hands of a new elite, and should their narrative be plausible, easy to understand, and reinforced at multiple levels of society, yes, Cthulu could swim right. Thank you for listening to this Bournbrook essay. You can read our print issues and online articles at bournbrookmag.com, and you can support Bournbrook at bournbrookmag.com/subscribe.